You're watching CTOM TV. Knowledge is power.
As Alex was just saying, cancer by definition is a disease of genetic mutations. So I really want to make this point because a lot of times when people call us, they say, oh, my doctor tested me and I don't have any markers for cancer. And they think that that means, therefore, that they don't have any mutations. You can't have cancer if you don't have mutations. They are inextricably linked. They are the same thing. So if your doctor is telling you, oh, you don't have any mutations for cancer, for starters, that is impossible. And what that probably means is that based on the clinic in which they work and the resources they have access to, they either weren't able to test you for any mutations or they tested you for just a very small number and none of those turned up for you. And we're going to talk, I'm going to let Alex talk a little bit about the different types of genetic testing and how many mutations can be tested for. But I just wanted to call your attention to this key point. Cancer is a disease of genetic mutation. You can't have cancer without mutations. And therefore, we need to find out what mutations are driving your cancer in order for anyone, including your doctor, to know that they're giving you the best or right treatment. Yeah. So right now, another little stat that I love because it's so overwhelming, right? I'm sure you know, in trying to figure out what is true out there about cancer and what is going to be the right treatment. Well, if you've even started to think about looking into precision diagnostics such as genetic testing, you probably felt immediately overwhelmed because there are so many options. Right now, there are 7,000 different types of genetic tests. Not all of them pertain to cancer, but there are many hundreds that do, if not more. So knowing what to look for, how to tell what types of tests you need and which is a good test is critical. And that's what we're going to talk about over the next few minutes. So Alex, tell us a little bit about tumor DNA testing, will you? What is it? How does it work? Why does it matter?
Excuse me. Well, tumor DNA testing is a little different than standard genetic testing. Often when doctors and people refer to genetic testing, they're thinking about inherited mutations that create a susceptibility to cancer. You know, something that you pass on to your children or you get an inherited disposition. And so often they'll ask you if you have cancer in your family. Tumor DNA sequencing is the isolation of the tumor cells and looking at what's going on in the tumors specifically, not the normal cells, and creating a susceptibility to cancer. So it's a very different thing. And so in the process of tumor DNA testing, what they do is they take a biopsy sample, they isolate the tumor cells, and then they get the DNA just out of those. And they look and see what genetic mutations are in those cells compared to your normal cells. And normal cells are also referred to as wild type. You know, the cells that are normally populating your body and that are not cancerous. So typically cancer will be a bunch of mutations that alters the functions of genes that are involved in repairing tissue and growth and development. So when we're in our embryonic state, what happens is certain genes are turned on to grow our tissues, to grow our fingers, to grow our arms and legs and different organs. And then once we've reached our proper size, those genes are turned off and never turned on again. And so those are called growth and development genes, or if they are turned on, they're just turned on briefly to fix damaged tissue throughout our life. So those sort of genes are the ones that get damaged typically in the cancers. And so they'll result in a massive production of a cell that's not really needed anymore. So let's say you cut yourself and you get this this reaction where the stem cells near the cut will start amplifying and will start copying themselves and will produce a bunch of skin tissue to fix that cut. The mutations that occur will occur in the genes that are supposed to turn that off, or even the genes that turn it on. And so I like to use the analogy of a gas pedal and a brake pedal in a car. And so there's two types of genes that we look at. We've got oncogenes, which are like the gas pedal in the car. They cause cells to grow and divide. And then you have tumor suppressor genes, which are like the brake pedals in a car. And so in cancer, you get damage to both the gas pedal, which get overactivated, and the brake pedal. So it's really important to get genetic testing and molecular testing when you have cancer. You need to know what genes are causing your cancer, what genetic mutations are causing your cancer, and how that's affecting you. Because literally all of the new drugs in this day and age are designed to target a specific mutation. So since the Human Genome Project in 2006, all of the new drugs that have been developed, with very, very few exceptions, have been designed to target a specific genetic mutation in a certain gene. And so learning about what has caused your cancer is very important. So in genetic testing, we have about 25,000 different genes. Most genetic panels will look at about, anywhere from 30 to as high as 600 different genes that are involved in cancer. And you can get a lot of different mutations in these genes. So if you do get tumor DNA sequencing, make sure you get one that looks at the entire length of the gene and that reports all of the mutations found.
Thank you for watching CTOME TV. Subscribe below and stay informed.